Hello. Hi everyone. You're gonna have to excuse my very blocked nose today. I've been a bit sick the last 2 days, but otherwise doing good. How is everyone doing? Maggie's here for our chat as usual. And then I'm just waiting for Simone to jump on. I'll just let her know and then see if anyone else is popping on here. Can't believe that we are like way past the half of August. Time is flown by so quickly. But I am very excited for the next few months to come. Let's just see who's here. Oh, there we go. She's here. So I'm just gonna get her signed in. Very, very excited for the next few months of the year. Okay, let's see who's joining. Hi everyone, Priya. Hello.
Hi, hello.
Hello, Lucy.
Let me take these out. No.
How are you?
Hi, good and you?
Yeah, all right. I was just
Hi,
saying,
man.
oh, and then it's like it's so irritating because you don't, in these times it's like you don't know. It's like
Yes,
it could just be like sinusitis or flu or something, and
yeah.
but now it's like I can't. Oh, here's my mom. Here's my mom. Out
Yes.
again. Huh. Okay.
What does that
Hello,
mean?
Mama. Oh, my mom's still teaching. I think she wanted to watch it live.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Yeah.
okay, okay. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. Can you see me? Like, I feel like I'm very
You can
dark.
move your yeah. No, I can see you clearly, but move your face a little to your right. Yes.
This way?
Just so
There we
from
go. Ah, let's
which is your
let's just
best
get the
side.
lighting good. Yeah,
No,
let's
that
just
looks
get
good.
the we don't wanna include the background too much, but with children in the house, the
I'm very.
background is the fire.
So what have you done with the husband and the kids?
Well, let's suppose they are at my mother's house at the moment because little one is a year and 3 months now, and she's very vocal. So
Mm-hmm.
even if they were around, you would have heard them. So they are at my mother's house and I'm at home. So ek het vir
That's a
hulle nou bietjie net
that's a cute age though, hey?
it is. Yeah, she's 1.5 and Jolia is the older one is 3.5 now, almost 4. So they are
Oh.
interacting really well, yeah. So I mean
But
it's 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 fun.
I feel like you had Jodia like yesterday. It's
I
almost
feel that
like
way too. No, I feel that way too, eh? It goes when you have children, it goes like this. I'm telling you, the time is not a tyd is nie 'n factor wanneer jy 'n kind het nie. It
no.
goes in the blink of an eye, for sure, definitely.
And they grow up really quickly.
It's insane. I mean, if I think now, ne, Isabella, the baby that I told you about now, she's a year and 3 months. I still remember everything about the day she was born. That day, I can still. It's like I'm there, you know. So it's incredible. You
I
just
remember I remember you telling me about the birth of your first baby, and you were like, Kathleen, I need to tell you a story. Are you ready?
girl, I'm telling you, it's a that in itself is a massive. It's obviously a very personal journey. Each person's journey is different. So with both my girls, I'm going to be honest and say Jolia's birth was very terrible for me, but Isabella's birth was a lot more empowering.
Okay.
Both experiences were very spiritual as well for me. I prayed a lot beforehand, But Isabella, the baby, her birth was a lot more empowering. So each person, I mean, however you experience it is your own thing. Yeah, you know, it's one of
Ek
those
bedoel
things.
ek praat nou hier asof ek weet wat aangaan.
Ja, die paie lê vir jou baie mooi vooruit, you know. You'll get there. You'll get there, and it'll be your
But
journey and your story to tell.
I feel because I laugh so much always my mom and then find it so funny and Jay's. Obviously because we're twins and everyone's like, how do you feel that your sister was first to get engaged or married or like blah blah blah. And then I'm like,
Yeah.
no, I'm completely fine with it. But then every now and then like someone who was like my sort, right? Someone who was my
Yes.
like flipping grades, what do you call it? Grade 6 when I was matric.
Yes.
Because like
Yes.
she's engaged. And I'm like, what?
Yes, grade 8 when you were matric. Yes. No, I'm with you. I'm with you for sure. I mean, when you, and that's the thing, like because I have children, a lot of people our age don't have kids yet.
Yeah.
So it's a really different thing, because there's not really many people who are my friends now that I can say, you know, are our age, who I can really sit and have a chat with regards to kids, because not many have children. So it really is a seasonal thing. Like each person's season is totally different. You know, things don't always work the way that you plan. And it all works out at the end of the day. You know, al het jy nie beplan of whatever nie, dit alles dit werk uit. So yeah.
Well, luckily you've got a hubby who like thinks that the sun shines out of you completely.
Sometimes, not always, né? Ons gaan eerlik wees.
I saw your Facebook post. You were
Yes.
saying that you guys have been together for like 11 years now.
No. That's Facebook friendship. I see on Facebook friends.
Okay.
But yes, we've been together for. Wait, you're right. Yeah, it is 11. Right. Yes. Yeah. No, you wait. Yeah, when we turn 19, the end of the year when we turn 19, and we're both going to be 30. That's 11 years, right? I mean, I'm like, okay, Facebook friendship, cool. But in reality, you're right. Pacific, no, it's more than a decade.
No,
but I don't know.
Isn't it like your not your diamond anniversary? You're like, there's so many of those. I don't even know how they work.
No, I don't know.
Silver and a gold and a. Anyways, let's get to the important stuff.
Yes.
Online, I saw a friend of mine in Diwu's here. I think I saw Kaylee on here. But welcome everyone who's joined, and to whoever is going to catch up on this video. This is my good friend Simóne. We went to high school together. Kyk, dis jou man wat daaronder comment.
Yes, that is my hobby.
Hello. So Simóne and I went to high school together. We danced together in high school. We were a few of the girls who were like much more English than Afrikaans, I'd say, or like leaning more towards English and Afrikaans. And we've just like formed a friendship that some years we don't speak, and then we get back together. But there's always just been a coming back to one another. And I said, you know, it's more than just a friendship. It's like a sisterhood. We've been, you know, learners next to one another. We've learned from one another. I feel we'll continue to do so. Simóne, I've just had a baby. Come live with me for like a month.
I will do it. I'll bring my children and I will do it.
Bring them. We're on the farm. There's space for everyone.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think introduce yourself to everyone and just give us a bit of a background of like your upbringing, kind of maybe a bit from like where you went straight after high school and kind of through all of that to Artscape and to where you are now. I know it's like a lot, but you can just kind of pick the most important things.
I grew up in Bredasdorp. I was born here, and I'm back here again. So I grew up in Bredasdorp. I went to Bredasdorp Primary, went to Bredasdorp High School. And what I can say about my upbringing is that, you know, I lived with me and my mom and my sister at the time. We lived with my grandma. So I had a very strict upbringing, and also nothing was handed to me. Everything I wanted, I needed to I had to work for. And I think, like with a lot of people, there's a lot of hardship that also comes with, economic things, and maybe not having as much as you would want. And if you want something, you can't always immediately get it. But, growing up like that, I can't say that I was in lack of anything. I always had love. We always had food to eat. I was always happy. I had music. Music was my, not escape, but like my safe place for my whole life. Music and dancing and, the arts has always been a safe space for me. So yeah, that's the childhood bit part of it. And then I, after high school, directly after that, I went to a performing arts ministry group based in Pretoria. So I was there for 2 years, and we toured through the country doing shows and productions. And there we had to choreograph and stage manage, and al die goed wat jy nou kan dink aan performing. We did everything there. After that, I went to CPUT and did my degree in event management. I actually wanted to study something in the arts. I mean, you know me well enough to know that was where my heart was. But I received a bursary, and the bursary only would pay for a certificate in like something substantial, not substantial, but they wouldn't fund an arts degree or arts whatever. So I was grateful for the bursary. I'm not going to say, no, you're bursary me. Yeah, so I did event management. I decided on event management because I thought to myself, that is something that I can pull the arts into. And I'm so grateful to God that I decided that, because I ended up at the Artscape Theatre for a couple of years. And that was definitely a highlight in my career, I must say, just being exposed to and being in a theatre of, an environment of theatre, the productions and managing that and doing that. And then from there, I got pregnant with our oldest daughter, and she wasn't planned. So that was like a, but no type of thing. And Pierre Etienne and I were like, okay, what now? Because we decided when we have children, we want to move to a smaller place. And then an opportunity opened up for him. We moved back to Bredasdorp, and I was home with her for a while, and I thought to myself, I want to do more. I want to do something else. Not that motherhood isn't fulfilling, but there's always a part of me that yearned for the music and the dancing and that. With your mom, she was the person who opened up the opportunity for me to teach little kids ballet. I mean, I loved it. Being with my little girl.
I think you're both mad, but fabulous that you love it.
No, you see, I was at home with Jolio, with my oldest one, all the time. And I mean, it might sound terrible, but there was a part of me that yearned for just, doing what I love as well. I love being a mom, don't get me wrong, I love being a mother. But there was this calling, and it's sometimes very conflicting, especially as a mother. You don't want to have it seem as though, being with your child isn't enough, and that's not it. There's just this, for some moms, not for everyone, others are perfectly happy being at home with their kids, and that's amazing. I mean, that's how it should be for you. But for me, I just thought, there's something more. So why are you laughing at me?
You're like, that's good for you.
No, I don't. No, I don't mean it like that. I just mean to say each mom's journey is different. If a mother wants to be home with her kids, there's nothing wrong with that. Then you do that. That is fulfilling to you.
Yeah.
But for me personally, I wanted to do something else. And that was the teaching. So I ended up teaching ballet like once a week with your mom. And that kind of opened the door for me to realize it's actually okay to not be with my daughter all the time and not have this guilt in my mind the entire time. In elk geval, lang story kort, I ended up at the choirs. So I'm basically now teaching the Bredasdorp Primary and Bredasdorp High School choirs. And then because of COVID, that came to pause. The primary school said, well, we're going to have to pause what you're doing. And the high school, I'm teaching.
Choir, hey?
Yeah, well, they are 100 children. So ek weet nou nie hoe ek dit sou.
Yeah, the primary school. Primary choir.
Yes. They are about 100. It's at like 94 this year. So ek round dit maar op tot 100. Want
That's
yeah.
crazy, girl.
So I mean the primary school choir, there was no way that I possibly would have been able to socially distance so many kids, and as primary school kids and I mean even just
Op die paviljoen.
it wasn't gonna work. But the high school I teach virtually. That I teach them online. So yeah, and then the primary school said they can't anymore, and then I was left with the COVID thing, and I can't see my kids, and it's breaking my heart. And how do I go about this? And that's when MaDFun Studio was born. So yeah, there's no long story, but that is basically it.
All right, and tell us a bit more about your thought process with MaDFun, because I'm assuming you're inspired by your own kids, you're inspired by the teaching you've done in the past, and then of course I'm sure it plays a role in being a mom at home with kids and trying to think up something for your kids to do every single day.
Yes. The biggest thing for me, I'm going to be honest with you, when the COVID thing started, I was really in a bad place. I missed my choir kids. I missed my, just having a space for the arts, for, the expression thereof, and my children and their faces. I mean, there's so much more to teaching a child music or dancing. You become this confidant mom for each child that you are engaging with. And you end up loving them as your own kids. So I really miss them a lot. And I prayed and I asked God, I was like, Lord, help me. I don't know what I must do. And I feel like this studio wasn't just birthed in my mind because I'm Olik. I prayed hard and I asked God, like, help me, because I don't know what I must do. And then this idea came to mind and I'm like, Lord, okay, if this is what it must be, then how do I go about it? And it's totally been a journey of faith. I mean, that's really, at the end of the day, what it's been. And I wanted to create a space that is safe for children, even as a result of the COVID thing. If you are at home, that's hopefully your safest place. It should be. And then, with my kids, every day I think, like, what can I do with them? What do I? So a lot of the activities I do in the toddler time is things I do with my own children. Isabella is little. She can't like run around yet. But a lot of the activities and music and singing and interpretation and stories with music and stuff like that, I do with my own kids. So I realized, there's definitely a need for that, because I know how safe music made me feel. And I wanted to create a space for another child to maybe just be able to be a part of something like that.
Yeah, so, I mean, what really jumped out to me now, what you said is that, that hopefully at home, that is that kid's safest space, which I think we all know isn't the case for a lot of children in this country, globally. And so, putting aside something, as drastic as more can't really compare it to, but if we took aside something like physical violence, and if it's just something like emotional or intellectual abuse, and that child has something like music, I've seen it in my family, I've seen it with you, I've seen it on movies, in stories, how people and how children can take something like music, and it does really become a lifeline for some people.
It does. It really does. I can honestly say it was mine. It definitely was mine. It was if I say it was a lifeline for me, there's a lot of things that you go through as a child that you perhaps box away, you don't really want to, tell people about, or so when it comes to music, sometimes when you just listen to something, you don't even need to really think about it. You just listen to a song or a track or whatever, and it resonates with something deeper inside of you. And it just, is a space that is there to help you work through your emotions, work through your feelings, maybe just expressing something that you feel. And I know for children nowadays, the screen is the thing that is what I'm interacting with the entire time. And to not have the child just have a look at what's happening, what I try to do with the classes is have them really interact, you know, say to them, well done, get up, let's get going, let's get moving, just to change the hoe kan ek sê, the accepted thing is nou maar net om te sit en te kyk en te kyk en te kyk. En jy wil nie dit hê nie. We need to build up these kids, build them up, you know, make it a space where they can really be and just enjoy and van baie van hulle het dit nie. Al is jy by die huis, it doesn't mean that, you know, that's there, but that's touching on a different issue in a different dimension. But basically the objective of the studio is just to create a safe space for children and a space where they can be creative and happy. And I mean, it's 20 to 30 minutes, 40 minutes for the older kids. Just in that time, you know, some of the classes parents can, well, all the classes parents can join as well. But if they do, great, because you know, how much time do you really spend with your child in a day interacting in something together, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that's the main goal at the end of the day, just for kids to be happy, really. Yeah.
Like straight from a mother's heart.
Yeah. I mean, I can tell you there's nothing better than seeing your child happy. There's nothing that you do, nothing that anyone else is doing for you, nothing that happens around you is more than if your child is happy. And it can be the simplest things. Children don't need much. You know, they don't really need you to ooh and ha and ah and ooh and, you know, that kan letterlik net wees, wow, I'm so proud of you. You know? And then they're just the happiest little people. And you're just saying something as so eenvoudig soos dit. So yeah, I definitely have a bit of a motherly approach to the business simply because of my own children.
Yeah, shame. And I mean, they really are, they are little sponges, you know,
Yes.
and they take in everything. So, you know, they take in the bad, obviously, but they do really take in the good. And so, you know, putting aside, like you say, like 20, 25 minutes to actually interact, not just the like, okay, mama gaan gou kos maak, kom speel gou langs my, or
Yeah.
you know, kom ons gaan die TV aan en dan of you know, or whatever, but doing actual things together. But like you say, you know, it's, I think that parents, excuse me, parents, I mean, like yourself, I don't know if you can kind of testify to that, is that this has been a very stressful time as a parent, potentially business owners, potentially being laid off, you know, and having 1, 2, 3 kids in the house who aren't going to school, and now having to, you know, put on your mom face. That can, I'm sure, has been quite challenging. I don't know how many parents you kind of know in the area there and how they've been handling things.
Yeah, what really gets to me is that Jolie is now 3 and a bit, and she talks about, Mommy, it's lockdown, we can't go anywhere, it's COVID-19, the germs, I need to wash my hands. And, you know, she obviously hears what's going on around her. That's their childhood. That is the childhood of your child, regardless of the age. They are boxed in now. And because my husband, Pierre Etienne, is diabetic, so, you know, that adds another dimension to it. There are 2 little kids in the house, and you need to walk that thin line between, are you being too cautious or are you being reckless? So no one can tell you and your family the way that you're doing it is right or wrong. Each person is doing it the best way that they know how, because we don't know how to handle what's happening. And especially in the beginning, when kids had to just stay in, stay home, everything is changing, nothing is the same. They were the little champions through all of that. I'm telling you, even with my sisters, any kids that I interacted with during that time, which wasn't much, it was literally my sisters in my eie kinders during that first time, they're so brave and they are just happy. You know, they're confused and a little bit like, oh, what's happening? But they are the champs. I'm telling you, children have this resilience that we can look up to them in terms of that. Just the way that they are still adapting. When they go to school now as well, everything's different. They may not hug their friends. They may not sit next to each other. Teacher may not come near me. it's such a scary space to be in as a child, but yet they show up, they're brave, they do what they need to do, they come home and they're full of smiles. And, you know, if you look at it that way, who are we to then, and I mean, and I'm not saying you may not feel overwhelmed. Of course, you're going to feel overwhelmed and stressed out and all of that. But yeah, I just feel like, you know, the kids are really the brave ones during this whole thing.
Where do you think we lose that in life? You know, where do you
What?
think the point is that resilience and that ability to be brave? You know, I wonder at what point it is that the fear really creeps in.
I feel like, well, I can only speak from personal experience. I think it's the moment when you are influenced by opinions and things around you, you know, when there's an innocence to childhood. And then as you get older, you become more aware of everything happening around you and kind of, why is this person talking to me like this? Why is that person being nasty to me? Why is this, and that? So I think as the years go on, especially in high school, I don't know how you experienced high school, but
Oh,
high school was a total nightmare
you're
for
like
me.
one of the like people who made my high school like worth anything.
Yeah, I mean, so I think each person's journey is obviously different, but there's a certain innocence and resilience to a child. But yeah, when you see how they approach, especially this COVID thing, if you see how they approach it, the way that they look at it, even though they are scared or they don't know what's going to happen, they're still brave. They keep going. They keep pushing. They keep doing what they need to do. Um, and they need to be celebrated for that, you know? I mean, ons as groot mense dink ek kan baie leer by kinders.
That's so beautiful, Simone.
Yeah.
That is so, so beautiful. I actually just want to check. I see Siki just jumped on. Siki actually just became a mom pretty much just before COVID.
Oh,
Hi, Siki.
congrats.
But that's kind of like a nice segue to lead me in to I asked you to kind of have a think about it and what you would say are three almost like self-care rituals daily that you do that really keeps you, you know, that keeps you together as woman, as mom, as teacher, as wife, as daughter. I mean, you've got so many roles in your life. You hold space for so many other people. I think
Yeah.
you've upskilled yourself enough in different layers and levels of yourself that you have that capacity, whereas a lot of people don't. But I'm sure there are definitely things in your day that you do that afford you the ability to be connected, to be strong, that kind of thing.
Okay, so firstly, the self-care thing, when now when you ask me that question, the first thing that comes to mind really is when you're a mom, nee. En ek gaan nou eerlik wees. In motherhood, there's very little opportunity for self-care. Self-care comes in the form of not being hard on yourself because the dishes aren't done or the house is untidy. Giving yourself a break. Self-care comes in the form of, you know, when the kids are in bed and they are asleep, before the one decides to wake up in the middle of the night, in that gap, to just take a moment for yourself, if you can, and just kind of sit down, eindelijk, you know, just take a deep breath and just kind of, okay, wait, let's quickly, you know. And I'm not saying these things to like be strange or funny or whatever, but it's the reality of motherhood. And then, you know, the other self-care thing that is really important to just pull yourself to yourself, for me personally, is my faith. I always make time to just pray at least somewhere during the day. And not somewhere during the day, I make it sound like it's a chore, but you know, keeping the faith going, your relationship with God going. That for me are my three self-care things. Not being too hard on myself, because I sometimes keep myself to a very, you know, I keep myself to a certain standard, and at times it's good and at times it's really bad, because it can be excuse me, detrimental as well. So self-care in motherhood is a complex thing because each mother will have a different self-care thing or what's important to her or method. So yeah, that's the most self-care that I'm gonna,
That's
you
the
know,
most self-care you get out of your day.
yes, yes.
All right.
For now, I mean, who
For
knows?
now.
Maybe when they're older, it's different. But for now, that's the, yeah, just taking a breath between, because as you say, you know, for me, I'm a lot of different things for a lot of different people, and that moment sometimes it's just before I go to bed, and I'm in bed, and right before I fall asleep, where I just have this moment to myself. I promise you, right before I close my eyes, I smile. I'm like, oh, okay. You know, like, okay, ek gaan slaap. Ek gaan slaap. Type of thing. It doesn't matter how long it is. It's just that moment of, okay, the day is done. Everybody's happy. Everyone I love is okay. I have a lot to be grateful for in, you know?
Bye, Battle.
Yeah.
And then the other question I had for you was, and we can almost wrap up with this, is if you could make one thing abundant in the world, what would it be?
Yeah, for me, the one thing that I would make abundant is empathy. I feel like if everyone had a lot more empathy, this world would be a much better place and in a much better condition. Because when you put yourself in someone else's shoes before you act, before you speak, before you deliver an opinion, before you pass judgment, if you have empathy for someone else before you do anything, that will already be a big motivator for a lot of things to change. I mean, if you look at the way things are going now, we know what it's like in South Africa because of the COVID situation. You know, I'm talking about anything really, any form of abuse or any word that you say, any thing that you do when you are around, just having empathy. I think everyone. Are you
Take a
okay?
breath.
Yeah, so I just feel like if everyone had a whole lot more empathy would be the one thing I would make abundant in each person. I feel like that would make a difference, yeah.
And I guess another lesson we can learn from kids, hey?
Yes. I'm telling you, children are like a dictionary of life, you can call it. En ek dink baie keer onderskatte mense kind because you're like, ag man, just gaan speel.
Ja.
But
Ja,
you know,
ja, maar
but
dit
if you
is
actually,
kinders is daar om gesien te word en nie gehoor te word nie, nê? That's how
that's
a
what you
lot
grow
of us
up
were.
with. Yes, yeah, no, for sure, for sure. So yeah, I mean, in short, it's just there's this there's a lot we can learn from children and their resilience, their bravery, and just by listening to them as well. A lot of the time, kids just want someone to listen to them, even if it is just for 5 or 10 minutes. Just give me your undivided attention just for a little while and hear my heart, not hear what you think I'm saying or what you are frustrated about me trying to tell you. Hear my heart behind what it is I'm trying to communicate. Um, so yeah, I mean, kinders is, and especially now, you know, with this sex trafficking that is getting the exposure it so deserves, definitive. Um, Especially with something like that. If a child wants to tell you something or comes to you with something, you need to acknowledge and cherish and actually embrace what it is they're coming to you with, you know? So with the awareness around that as well, it's amazing. It's great. I mean, if the least we can do is talk about it and create awareness about it, then so be it, you know? So
I think
yeah,
a
the
lot of
kids are really the
people
great
I
ones.
think a lot of people don't want to talk about it. You know,
Yes,
it's but
because
also
it's
like
uncomfortable.
yeah, and I guess, you know, in a world that has so many that has, you know, quite a lot of darkness in quite a lot of different ways, it's almost like, you pick the poison that you want to help
Yeah.
cure. And everyone's kind of got their main, you know, battle that they're standing behind and that they're fighting for. And I guess something like sex trafficking is majoritively a problem of women and a problem of children.
Yes. Mm.
And most of the time it's women who stand up for kids. You know,
Mm.
it's that is kind of generalizing it. But if you looked at the gender-based violence march in Cape Town last year, at points I was like, where are the guys? You know,
Mm.
therefore,
Yeah.
every woman in this march, there should be a man.
Mm.
Because most of you are fathers, a lot of you have daughters. You should be marching for your daughters.
Yeah.
So yeah, but as you say, like just giving a kid them just letting, like you say, like letting them talk, but actually hearing what they have to say.
Yeah.
Um, you know, I as an adult, I really struggle to, and it's always been an issue. I think with even like within my family, even though luckily they know me well, but friendships and relationships is that I struggle to really communicate. Like I don't have a large vocabulary. I was never
Mm.
great with language, so
Mm.
I often feel like I can't express myself well enough.
Yeah.
And like little humans are just, you know, they've only got a little bucket of
Mm.
words and ways of expressing themselves, you know.
Yes.
So really giving them the time of day and trying to figure out what is their little language and what are they trying to say.
For sure, for sure. And I feel like, a lot of the times when people interact with a child or with children, they what if you interact with a child out of your expectation of that child, it's a different experience. But when you interact out of, I really want to hear you, not what I want you to say or what I would need you or how I want you to interact with me. I want to hear you, you know? Each the same as how we are different. Elke kind is anders. You can't have a set approach. And when you are open to, children gravitate towards people who have this openness, and 'n kind kan aanvoel when you are a loving person or whatever. And I'm not saying you almal moet nou loving gaan wees met almal en goed nie. I just say the point I'm trying to make is being a safe space for a child is a privilege. It's not something that needs to be taken lightly. It's not something that is up to you to pick apart. If you are a safe space for a child, it's something that you really need to take so seriously. Omdat vir daai kind is jy alles. The moment a child attaches themselves to you, you become everything for that child. And you need to acknowledge that. Whenever you see them, as dit nou nie jou eie kind is nie, whenever you see them, whenever you engage with them, everything needs to come out of not your perspective, but the perspective of the little one who has attached themselves to you. They might need it more than you realize. Yeah.
That's a beautiful way, I think, to end this, Simone. Thank you so much. I think, I think you and I are definitely going to be doing some more work in the future. So thank you to everyone for joining on. You're welcome to leave some questions or some comments if you like. And then just before we go, so a little more on the logistics, what is MaDFun Studio's schedule looking like? If someone wanted to join, what's the process, etc., etc.
Okay, let's get to MaDFun Studio also there.
Before we say
right
the
now,
word.
Before we do that, let's quickly do this. Basically, what's happening now is whoever sends an email to us will receive their first class to try. So we have two options. We've got a toddler time option and a MaDFun crew option. So depending on the age of your child, if you send us an email, we send you the first lesson to try. And then if your child enjoys it and you'd like to know more, just get in touch with us. Otherwise, we have the live sessions every second week on a Wednesday and a Friday for the two separate classes. And all the classes at the moment are in virtual format. So when you purchase a package, you receive 6 pre-recorded lessons along with the syllabus for that month, which tells you what parts of your child's development will be we will be working around, and the objectives for that month, and virtual teaching guidelines. And then I obviously everything is online, so emails and WhatsApps and goed, al die goede. But yeah, that's the basic. But we have a website, www.madfunstudio.com. All our information is there. We have a Facebook page, Instagram. Yeah, and that's about it. It's just about making kids happy and just dancing and music and al die lekker dinge, Dit gaan daaroor.
Yeah, and doing all of this in like a pandemic is super inspiring. But I guess you also, it was nice that you had time and space in a sense to create something like this, that maybe if you were still, driving up and down to schools and teaching
Yes.
things, that it wouldn't have populated in this way. So
for sure.
So that's very exciting, and I'm very happy for you, and I'm so glad that you and your family are safe. I'm sure you need to go get them, want Oma gaan vir Kathleen message sê, weet jy Kathleen, dit was nie die plan nie.
Boy, toch. He's my champ. Shame when I'm recording, he's got them, or my mother has them. So I mean, the only way that I'm really making this work is because of the support network, because the framework is there. Because if they're not with me, they need to be with someone, So yeah.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Simóne, thank you so much for your time. Guys, thank you for joining in if you were here for the live or if you're catching up. Go check out Simóne. She has come on the live as MaDFun Studio, so you can go straight to her Instagram page. If you got any questions, you can pop me a message, you can pop her a message. And other than that, stay safe, everyone, and have a beautiful day further. Vriendin, ek's baie lief vir jou, baie dankie vir jou tyd. You've really said some very thought-provoking things, so thank you for sharing.
Oh, thank you so much, my friend, for having me. This was so awesome. And yeah, for creating the platform. Love you very much. Mwah.
Oh, love that. En ons moet kuier, maar ek gaan eers gesond raak en dan sien ons mekaar.
Okay. Yes, ons doen dit.
Love you.
Okay. Love you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.